Okay. Well, all right. Well, thank you everybody for taking time to join with us today. We're wrapping up a pretty substantial system update, and part of that was a facelift to our portal, and we've added quite a few new features and capabilities to it. So we wanted to take some time to give you a tour of the portal and highlight some of the new features that we do have in the portal. So, as I mentioned a moment ago, if you have any questions along the way, please put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to address them either as they come up or towards the end. But with that, thank you again, and I'll turn it over to Tom.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This webinar was actually prompted by several questions from the field going, we heard that you have a new portal, but when we log in, it looks exactly the same as the old one. What's the deal? And so this is to basically show you how to switch over to the new portal and then all the stuff that you see when you make the switch. So you can always switch back and forth. So it's not like, one-way thing. Let's see. First step would be to log in to your portal. So you log in, and what you will see by default is the same old portal that has been in there for years. But this is what actually causes people to go, new portal? What new portal? What you do to switch is you go to the top right corner, it says settings, and then you'll see a new setting entry which says theme. So that's either classic or modern. Select modern, click save. You do have to sign out and sign back in because it needs to reload all the JavaScript on your uh, browser, but log back in and it looks different. So that's how you switch to the new portal. Basically, you can go in and switch back if you want. Just you see theme modern, you say classic, and you can go back. But one thing you'll notice is that the portal is completely different. It has the sort of a pastel mode, which is much more modern style. But you can change whether right now by default it shows it in dark mode. You can change between dark and light modes. So click light, and you get light mode. So those who prefer to see stuff in light backgrounds like I do, this will work. Those who prefer to see stuff in dark backgrounds, this looks better. A lot of people seem to prefer the dark background. You can also do other edits to or changes to your look and feel as you choose. These will persist. They're all stored on a per login basis. So what you change will not change other people logging in. All right. So while we're on the topic of logins and so on, so you have now a different, or formerly we used to have just plain admin and technician logins and or roles, and those were pretty limited. We've expanded the roles significantly in this portal. So if you go to other accounts, for example, if you're an admin and you go to other accounts, you'll notice all the other accounts in there, but now you can change the type of account that there is. So we have four different kinds of accounts. One is admin, so you'll only see this if you're actually an admin. Another one is technician, where technicians can configure customers that are assigned to them, but they can't go in and change the customers that are assigned, and they can't go in and create new accounts, et cetera, et cetera. So if you wanted, say, for example, you had a temporary consultant and you say, well, you can only access this one account. Then you go in, you say select customers, and you can like say only these customers can be managed by this particular account. Other customers, that account won't even see. Or click select all and your technician can manage all of them. This is particularly useful, by the way, when you have co-managed IT. So when you have somebody in-house that would like to manage their own setup and you'd like to co-manage their setup with you, you can just create another account and then ensure that you select only that customer, like that one. for that particular account. And when they log in, they can only see that account, only manage that account, and they can't see anything else. There's also the code code read-only account, and this lets you set up an account for customers which where you may want to let them view their portal but not actually make changes. There are customers that we've had for partners who are comfortable just looking at what they've got. Maybe they like to see the notifications or something just to reassure themselves that the network is working. And so you can then choose a read-only account, which is view only. You can't change. If they try to change anything, it just won't take. The last item or type of account is a receptionist, and this is for captive portal. We'll get to that later. Anyway, so there are now four different kinds of role-based access control now available in the portal. And so this gives you far more freedom in terms of what kind of access you're going to permit. And this is a start. So I guess we will keep adding to this as time goes on. Moving back to the dashboard. There's a new feature added in, which is a map view. So if you click on map view, then it shows you all of your customers, but on a map. So you can get an idea of like, well, there seems to be a lot of reds over here. And so maybe there's an ISP outage over there, but if there's just one red and everything else is green, maybe it's specific to that customer. But you can zoom into the map, you can pan around, and you can click on one of these things and it pops up and tells you what, or gives you some basic information about that site and so on. Again, this is something that we are adding to to the portal. So there's a whole pile of table of sites over here, for instance, and we're planning to make it so that everything is clickable, and if you click on something, something useful actually happens. If you just wanted to show all the failures, for example, you could show that, and it'll even zoom in to show only the warnings. All right, moving back to the dashboard view. So whoops, I selected just the warning, so it showed me that. Okay, so interesting that there should be a map. So the big question is where do where do we get the information to geolocate on the map? So that comes from three different sources. You can, for example, go in and actually set an address now. So you can say my customer is located at this street address, in which case we will show you, put that customer exactly on the map. But if you choose not to fill in any of this stuff, we'll actually deduce the location on the map from the public IP of the customer to the best of our ability. Or you can throw in a city and a street and all that, and we'll actually populate the map exactly the way it's supposed to be. However, here, once you've got in there, you'll also notice one new feature, which is per customer report emails. This is something that a lot of people have asked for. You know that we can send monthly reports on things like the security, the firewall blocking situation, the bandwidth, storage, all that kind of stuff. We send you those reports every month. But those are sent to the MSP and the technicians for all of the customers. What we've added now is the ability to send reports directly to your end customers out of this portal. So, for example, if you enable per customer report emails for this particular customer and put in the customer's email address, then we will not only send the report for all the customers to the MSP, but also for this specific customer, we will send it to the customer directly. So that can save some time at the end of the start of each month in taking 20 or 30 reports and emailing them one by one to the individual customers. So of course, the reports will show up with the customer name and your logo and everything else on it, just like it did before. So. Right. So that would be on the site settings and customer stuff. Now we move over to, for example, let's pick one of these. And what we have added to this would be uh, a different, I mean, a bunch of different things. So, for example, you can click on one of these ports, and what you'll see pop up is actually a chart. Let's see if the auxiliary port is connected. Yes, okay. So you'll get the usual information about whether the port's up, what the connection is, public IP, etc. But you also see a bandwidth chart. And this is true for the ports, the Wi-Fi SSID is nothing connected at the moment, shares and so on, utilization over time, etc. So there's now a bunch of real-time charting added to the portal. So you could go over, for example, to your LAN clients over here and then click on the status and up pops a chart of receive and transferred bandwidth for that client. If it's a Wi-Fi client, well, I don't actually have a Wi-Fi client here. If it's a Wi-Fi client, it'll show you not just receive and transferred bandwidth, but also the signal strength. So you can see whether the client is having poor strength, whether it's going up and down, etc. You may notice that the display over here for the devices view has changed, and that it has. Formerly, in the old look and feel, the devices view was one giant scrollable table. This one breaks it up, and so you can say, well, show me only 10 clients per page, and I'm going to search for everything that says EAP, and then it shows you a subset of clients. It's a free-form search, so you can say, tell me everything that is on employees, for example. So here are all the employees clients. Show me everything that is on port 4. Whoops. Oh, yeah, of course. If I type better, it would be good. In any case, so you can put in a search and you can get to that. You can click on these, like I said, and view a bandwidth chart. But you can also directly jump from the uh, the Wi-Fi AP or the port directly to the port. So you go over there, you hover, and you'll see something that says double click to view the connection. So double click, and it pops you right over to the switch to which that particular device is connected and opens the switch and shows you the port to which that device is connected. So you can see the port is in there. And there's your connected LAN client. You click on that, and it shows you that there's an IP address of this with the MAC address of that, is group that, and last seen of this. So basically, the new portal tries to weave together all the different bits of information that we have from the system and make it convenient for you to go in and find out what's happening on different pieces of infrastructure. So yeah, I mean, you can see stuff like this one has a client, and if you pop open that one, it has another client over there, a different one, etc. So uh, we have also added stuff like the details about switches, when they were last reset, active, versions, all that kind of stuff to it. Oh, one thing that also has been long requested is the ability to reboot switches. So you can go in here and there should be oh, this is offline. So I guess you can't reboot it because all of these are offline. Try that. Oh, all my switches are offline. That's an interesting setup. Anyway, if they were online, you would actually see a button that says reboot, and you click on that and it'll reboot the switch. There's a new tab added over here which says topology. So that one, when you click on that, now shows you a topology of all the infrastructure. It does not show you the devices. If a lot of our networks have like hundreds of devices, and that would just make the view incredibly cluttered. But instead, what it does is show you all the individual devices that are on the system. And of course, you can zoom in and pan and scroll and all the good stuff. But you can also click into these devices. So if I wanted to go in and double click, I would get in there. I think there was a question from Yusuf. Corey, did you? See anything?
No, nothing in the chat. Yusuf, did you have a question or did anybody have any questions at this time? I think previously Yusuf was just confirming that he saw.
Okay,
Sorry. Oh,
cool.
love the topology layout. It's very helpful in troubleshooting. Okay. Okay. Yep. Nope. Then nothing at the moment.
Yeah, we are adding to this considerably. So right now, what you can do is zoom in, and then you can zoom into another switch. And if you double click on that, then it takes you right to the switch. So now you can go in to the specific switch and go back. So then the exact same thing happens for APs. You can go in over here, zoom into that, double click on the AP, and pops you right over to the AP, opens up the AP, and shows you well, the access point is offline. Imagine that. So then you can go back and keep moving around the topology. So when what we plan to do in the next iteration is these are now just showing the ports, but they actually have devices connected. So when you double click on that, what you're going to do is move you right over to the device and show you the status of the device. So you can basically mouse around your entire topology without having to look at tables and try and understand what's connected to what. So yes, the topology view is going to become more and more, functional as time goes on. But even now, you can actually click on something, it'll show you that, and then there's a little table of stuff. And if you click on like the access point, it'll pop you right over to the access point, and you can change its channels and bandwidths and all the rest of it. Right. So that's another example of the philosophy that we are trying to do or to implement in the portal going forward is everything should be clickable. And if you click on something, you should do something useful and sensible. Like if you click on that, it'll pop right open and show you all the access points. And then you can set the transport power separately, etc., and leave all the other access points alone. And yet that one access point can then be adjusted. Right. So let's see. In terms of well, now that we come to this section of the UI, there is a lot of changes made to the Wi-Fi side of life. So if you click on this, you'll notice a few things. For example, there's a little button that says Captive Portal. So you click on that. Oh, I've already enabled Captive Portal for guests, but you can enable Captive Portal on any SSID, not just guest SSIDs. So you can have, for example, if they don't want a guest captive portal, you can have a captive portal for the employees. But you can also schedule SSIDs. So you can say, I'm in the central time zone and I would like to enable my Wi-Fi to turn on and off at 8 and 5. Click Save, and now you have a schedule that is active for this SSID, which will prevent people from camping out on your customers' Wi-Fi without any reason on, say, nights and weekends. But talking about Captive Portal, I think this one already has Captive Portal enabled for the guest. So now the question is, how do I set up Captive Portal? Well, there's the whole Captive Portal splash page builder at this point. So you can create a set of Captive Portal pages for your customers without having to edit HTML and all the stuff. So you can upload, for instance, image files for their headers, banner images, and so on. You can change your body titles, etc. And then, well, this is kind of a very primitive page, but if you can do a preview and go, this is the preview, and I should learn not to let the engineers get at the setup. Okay, well, fine. You can change it to be a decent captive portal page with terms and conditions and so on. So I mentioned in the role-based access control that we had a receptionist UI now. Well, that is tied directly to the captive portal. So once you set up a captive portal page for a customer, for example, then the next question is how to add users? Well, the answer is that's what the receptionist page does. You can add users to the captive portal, or you can create an account, call it assign it as a receptionist role, and only point it at this customer, and then whoever logs in on that account, hopefully the receptionist, will see this one, which is the ability to add users, to see who's logged in and so on. And once the users have started logging in, you can actually, she can act or he can actually download the user login history. So, for example, if they entered their name and address and phone number, then a CSV file gets downloaded in order to allow the receptionist to say send them coupons and stuff like that. We also see all the history of who logged in, when, what, and so on, and the captive portal. So this becomes a much more functional captive portal than what we used to have in 5.10. So you can set up pages, you can create receptionist accounts, you can download what they did, you can upload CSV files of uh, login credentials. You can actually set up like username, password, or you can set up a token, or actually all of them if you wanted. So it's up to you. So you can, and then you can require information from them, such as name, address, phone number, company, etc., and so on. So you can do all this stuff from straight from the portal without any further ado on that. Talking about CSV files, we've actually added a whole lot of places for where you can upload and download CSV files. So if you look at the VPN page, for instance, uh, before we had to enter VPN users one by one into the system. Now you don't. You can, if you have a CSV file full of VPN users you like to upload, just click load from CSV, and it'll give you some hints about what columns it expects to see. And then you can also download a template, for example, that says, here's an example template. I'd like to fill it in and then upload it, edit it in Excel, and choose the file and upload. And we'll populate the entire set of the VPN users like that. And you can download a CSV file once you've got it. Whoops, I probably didn't want to download anything because there's only 4 of them to download. But you can download the CSV file. The same thing goes for things like, say, Active Directory. You can go to Active Directory and you can load your users from a CSV file. You can download the same CSV file to your computer and so on. Same thing with computers and so on and so forth. This something similar occurs with IP addresses. So we've considerably changed the IP address page, but we also made it possible for you to download your entire set of IP addresses for all the customers, sorry, all the offices and the customers in one uh, uh, go. So basically, you can get all the IP addresses for documentation purposes or any other purposes just by clicking download CSV. We have also made it a lot easier for you to navigate your IP address subnets through the customer setup. So if you said, well, I'd like to see all the IoT VLANs IP addresses, just click on that, and this is the only active IoT VLAN. But if I can say, show me all the employees, well, these are all the active employee VLANs over there. Or you can say, just show me everything at this one site, main office. Here's all the VLANs at the main office. Or search for a site and you can say, show me boss. And here's the boss. Well, of course, I've only selected main office, but here's the boss at all sites, etc. So there's search functionality and all that in there. All right. So we've covered the scheduling. Firewalls have been spruced up quite a bit. So now you have displays of things like countries that are sending probes and attacks towards your customer offices. And so, as this one doesn't actually, I think my home system has quite a few to look at. Let's take a look at that. So, I have 2 Wi-Fi connections, sorry, 2 internet connections. Oh, yeah, there you go. So these are like all the different countries that from which threats have been received at my house, for example. Anyway, going back to this thing over here. So we have that. And then if you go to country blocking, we try to do the same thing. If you say, I'd like to accept only known good countries, click save, and now it shows you not just the countries, but also where they are in the world, etc. So, I mean, it's kind of looks uh, sort of more modern, I suppose. Right. Uh, there's been a number of different other things that have been added on. Oh, diagnostics, right. So we are still adding more diagnostic tests, but there are things like the connection table, so you can now see what applications are running at the office and or the customer's office and which IPs that the customer is talking to. We're adding a lot more to this to isolate by, for example, application and translate all these to actual domains. But this is a start for the things like connection tracking tests and so on. So, I mean, of course, all the usual stuff about bandwidth measurements and so on are there. Let's see what else do I have in this list? Well, actually, at this point, I should probably stop because I've given you a flavor of the new UI. Now the question is, I guess I should open it up to questions. Corey?
Nothing yet. I was taking notes, so I might have missed this. Did you show the topology page?
I did.
Okay.
So it is right here on topology.
Okay, perfect. And
Oh,
then
I should mention one thing also is that we've done a considerable revamp of the portal backend infrastructure. It is completely restructured and it is very much, uh, shall we say, made far easier for us to extend. So one thing that's happening now is uh, we are adding more and more in the ZTNA and SASE products. So that is getting folded into the portal. So now, for example, our ZTNA user entry is all sitting over here. So you can keep adding ZTNA users and so on. And we'll be adding ZTNA infrastructure management over here. And then as the SASE stuff goes in, adding the SIM and alerting and all that kind of stuff that goes with the SASE in here as well. So this is starting to gain a lot of speed in terms of adding features to the system.
when
Let's
we
see. Mike asked, where do we update client address details? Go to site settings, edit, and you'll see the client site address. Maybe this is easier to see in light mode. Yeah, oh well, I guess light, dark, all the same. Right. In the you can change the street address. Whoa, no need to do that. Change the street address and the name of the site and everything at the same time as per customer reports, etc. And if you change the street address over here, then your map will change. Oh, there are actually a few things I forgot. Inventory. So this, I mean, a frequent request has been, so what switches and APs are at which customer? And so right here, you can see things like this particular customer has these switches and those APs, and here's the gateway, and this is the model number, etc. But if you wanted to see all of them, go to settings, click inventory. And now what you have is a complete inventory of all the customers, all the devices, when they were last seen, and the descriptions if you enter descriptions for each of them. So this one is searchable. So you can say, for example, show me all my 24 port switches. Let's see if that works. There. This now hides everything except all the 24 port switches. Or you can say sort by uh, customer name, or I can actually, I think uh, right, you can actually, let's see, close all the stuff and expand that, and you can just go through the individual sites. But you can also dump the whole shebang to uh, a CSV file and edit it with Excel if you want. And that shows you everything that you've got in terms of your inventory, all the customers and how old they were, when they were last seen, etc., etc. So that's handy. Okay, so coming back to dashboard. Okay, questions?
Right. Any other questions or any other um, items you're looking for, I guess, in the new portal that we may have changed the locations on?
Mike says he couldn't see
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's a new one. I'll have to go find someone with a. I mean, we've tested it on Chrome, Safari, Edge, as you can see, and Firefox. So I guess we'll have to see what happens on Chrome.
Is there a way to put or to change gateways that are no longer in use, like spare gateways to shelf stock or spares or something like that in the portal?
That is a very, very good question. And I think now we have the ability to go in, and we always had the ability to go in and say this particular customer is spare. So basically just set as, if you click over here and go to set as spare, it will hide them from the dashboard. But now we have the ability to go in and set a customer, I mean, a specific gateway as a spare. I'll just hide it on the dashboard. We haven't exposed that yet, but it is now possible for us. We can go in there and say this gateway hasn't been seen for 2 months. Turn it off.
Okay. Robert asked, do we have the ability to see or know when a VPN user is logged in and active at each customer site?
And not yet. Yes. The answer to that is the VPN. As part of our ZTNA stuff, we went in and did a complete facelift on the VPN backend. And now we have the VPN customer connection status, the log, as it were, of when they logged in, what they did, when they logged out, etc. And so the next work item is to bring all that to the portal. So the answer is we have the ability. It's not on the portal yet. It is in the next release.
Okay. Yusuf said we mentioned SASE. Well, perhaps maybe just a real quick overview of our plans for SASE, and then Yusuf, we can certainly schedule something offline and give you a little bit more detail. But I don't know, Tom, if you can give just a real high-level overview of what our plans are for the SASE product.
Yes, it's an active work item. It actually came directly out from, it's a natural follow-on from the ZTNA stuff. So what we are doing now is integrating into the system a per customer SIM, a per customer, and then associated with the SIM will be a lot of alerts and an XDR agent that is then loaded onto the customer devices that will send events and notifications up to the SIM, and then the alerts come back out to the MSP. And so if you have, for example, an agent loaded on a Windows server, which is noticing that someone is trying a password cracking attempt, it will notify the SIM, which will generate it will fire a rule and generate an alert to the MSP going, you're having an immediate uh, issue. And so that ties in, for example, with our ZTNA, with our SSO infrastructure we're building into the backend. Because with the ZTNA, we ended up having to integrate a full IDP. Once we have an IDP, then the next logical step is to integrate SSO between, for example, our Active Directory and Windows 360, Microsoft 365, and Google, and all the rest of the cloud services. Once you do that, then integrating a SIM and being able to trigger on various conditions that are known issues becomes very feasible. So we are actually doing all that at the moment. We have the SSO running, we have the SIM running, we have the alerts generating. In fact, actually, my laptop is periodically triggering various alerts that our SIM is flagging and going, Tom did this. So all the stuff is working in the lab at the moment, and that is in fact our very next release. 6.0 will be big.
On that note, if anybody would like to get a little bit more information on that, please just send me an email or give me a call and we can schedule time to go through that in a little bit more detail. But as Tom said, we're going to be working diligently on that for the next release. So Let's see. Oh, Robert asked if the customer report is branded with the MSP logo and contact information only, or I don't know what other information would be on that. Perhaps the Uplevel logo might be what he's asking about.
It's branded with the MSP logo, pretty much. So if you go to reports and you edit report settings, then you can upload a logo, you upload your company name, and so on and so forth. And then we do have a little up-level systems logo somewhere on the top right of the report, but no one that I know of has noticed that. What they see is your logo on the first page. It is a PDF report and it's also a Word report, so you can edit it and add your own stuff or fold it into your own reports that are sent. But yes, this is sent out at the beginning of every month. There's a fair number of people who seem to like having that.
Robert, did that answer your question? And while we're waiting, any other questions or anything else that we can answer for anybody at this time? Perfect. Thank you, Robert. Any other questions for now?
Let's see, I think. Oh, yeah, this was basically all about the dashboard. I mean, obviously, there's a whole whack of features in 5.1 that we haven't covered on, but this entire webinar is all about the portal.
Mhm. So here's a question. So if a device removed from a client, but we are keeping it in our inventory for redeployment, we can create a quote spare client and assign it to the device to spare.
That's an interesting question. That isn't what we had thought about. We just thought you wanted to hide the device from the portal just to, make the portal look green as opposed to having this perpetual red. Um, yeah, we'll have to think about that. Maybe a separate table of here are your spare devices. Yeah, okay. Well, I should stop trying to redo the engineer's work in real time on a webinar.
Oh, or that.
But yeah, something. We'll punt this to the UI guy as a workflow and come up with something that hopefully makes sense.
So as you are going through the portal, if you see things, questions, or if you have thoughts on ideas that we should be adding or things that we can continue to work on, please, send us a note, give me a call, whatever, and we'll make sure we add it to the release, or to excuse me, to future releases. So, any other questions or anything else that we can point out for anybody as we start to wrap up here?
Actually, it may not even be added to a release. We now have the ability to update the portal for without having a major release rolled out. So we can, if it's portal only, the portal infrastructure is now streamlined to the point where we can make changes very carefully that will not require a release. The site addresses with the CSV file. That was an interesting question. We had quite a debate about that until somebody pointed out that it would be absolutely easy and almost I mean, trivially easy to destroy an entire customer's set of subnets, or I mean their LAN, by just accidentally uploading a CSV file. So right now we just said there's a download. Let's hold off and see whether there's uh, I mean, how that goes, and then we'll see whether there's a safe way to do an upload. Let's see. Oh, how many layers of security do we have on I guess that is a much larger topic of debate than just the portal. I would have to think about that question. Maybe what we should do is schedule a follow-up to talk about the cybersecurity as parts of, well, I mean, it's not just a 205, right? All of the gateways have exactly the same cybersecurity functions, and there's layers of those.
Armando, why don't I connect with you offline and we'll schedule a time to go through that question.
Let's see,
And then
Matthew, just the
or
office
Ryan,
address.
excuse me. I think Ryan was asking just the office address for the map view, I think is what he was wanting to do.
Yes, the office address is, oh, just enter the office address of the map. Yes. Actually, you could enter just a city. You could enter a state, in which case we'll plunk it right down in the middle of the state. But we don't recommend that. But yeah, you could enter just a city, a zip, a full address, or whatever you will, and we will take that and deduce it. Oh, yes, right. Yeah, we'll deduce the location from that. So it's a fairly uh, powerful address translator. It'll take all the piece of information you can get for this client, including IP address, and figure out what or where is the best location for that client. If all we've got is an IP address, we'll use that. Yes, if you the ability to set a single gateway as a spare is not there. So if you go, for example, to this one and click on site settings and edit, and you say set as spare, there is a warning message that says set all the devices for this customer as spare devices and hide them on the dashboard, which means the whole customer will go. So what the next release uh, has as a feature item is set just this one as a spare. Oh, yes. If you, for example, if you set a spare, click save. Yeah, there's again, the warning message. You have set this device and everything as a spare. So go to show spare devices on the dashboard. Click OK. Hello, pencil. At the very bottom of the dashboard, there's a show spare customers. And now you can just go in over here and site settings and then unset that as a spare. Hmm. I must have messed something up somewhere in the site. It doesn't like me. Anyway, so that is the stuff. We can go into your portal and undo that. That's not a particular issue. We'll take care of that right after. But anyway, that's where you see the spare customers down at the bottom. I wonder what I did. I must have entered something it didn't like. Yes, oops. So as you have more features in the UI, you have more ways in which at least I can shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah, I think Blake wants to dive into Ben's abuse box a little bit.
Yeah. This is I haven't That's where all those gateways vanished to. They've been messing with this setup. Wait, that is supposed to be my test gateway. Okay, well, anyway, I guess we can take this offline. I'm going to go beat on someone.
Okay. All right. Any other questions as we spiral down Ben's abuse box? Any other
Yeah, no,
questions
let's
or
not.
anything else that we can answer for you for
Let
now?
us not spiral down. Yes, you can unset as pair and you go in. Well, let's try this again on a different customer that I have not messed up. Right? They say this is a spare device. Click edit, unset as pair, click save, and then I did something. Okay, there it is. Okay, it's back. So if you go in at the very bottom, it shows show spare device right here. Well, I have no spare device, but it will show that. Click on that, go back in and unset the spare checkbox on any customer, and it'll go back, sorry, any office, and it'll go back to being a regular thing.
Okay. Looks like that took care of it. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to make that spare business much more prominent once we get to spare devices as opposed to spare customers. Very, very few people have even bothered to try and set a spare customer.
Okay. Any other questions or anything we can answer for anybody for now? Doesn't quite look like it. All right. So again, as we wrap up here, I do appreciate everybody taking time to meet with us this afternoon. We will post this so you can go back and review it. If you have any questions or if there's any thoughts or again, any suggestions for what you'd like to see us add to or modify in the revamped portal, please let us know. That's how we get our roadmap moving forward. But we appreciate everybody's time and we will be talking to everybody later. Thank you and have a great afternoon.
Okay, thank you all. Appreciate your time and attention. And I mean, there's no need to just send email. You could also just call us up and say, show me this thing on the portal. We'd be happy to show you or fix it.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Have a good
Okay.
afternoon.
Have a good afternoon. Bye.